Alright, hold on a second. Just let me get sorted out here. No one's around. I don't know, maybe the notifications aren't going out. Maybe no one's interested tonight. I don't know what's going on. Very strange. One view. We had one view, one visitor, one like. Okay. Let's blame it on the planets. Anyway, I gotta keep going. Maybe it'll be one of those weird events where nothing happens. It does happen. Oh, hi, Boo-Boo. Hi, Boo-Boo. I know you want extra cuddles. I know. Boo-Boo's down here with me. Boo-Boo and Bubba and Bonnie have been demanding a lot of cuddles lately. I don't know what it is exactly. The more you have, the more you want, perhaps? I don't know. I don't mind, of course. I'm going to put the orange thing very lightly through here. Okay, and then I'll do a little bit of that. Okay, so we've got, of course, as the usual suspects, Pluto is retrograde. Let me get everything here. Sorry, it's a little bit ramshackle this evening. Neptune, of course, is retrograde. Uranus is now retrograde, by the way. And Saturn is still retrograde. See, it's really piling up. And, well, we might as well just put it on here, even though it's tomorrow, technically. Who cares? I mean, we're on the cusp right now. Let's mark it. Jupiter retrograde. Now, at the same time, Venus is no longer retrograde. It just flipped yesterday. But we still have Mercury retrograde. So that's a ton of retrograde stuff going on. Put that over here. I'm going to shove those over here. Put that over here. Alright, so this is what we've got for the moment. Let me just check something here. Technical stuff. Alright, going on over here. And give me a second. Let me just introduce myself here. Good evening, this is TarotLumination. It's Sunday night, 3rd of September 2023, over in Las Vegas. The sun is going to be going down fairly soon. This, I don't know, I like to check in on weather things, but all this area up here had massive flooding. This is like the Nellis Air Force Base. Huge SAC, Strategic Air Command Base, where they deal with stuff and logistics all over the world. The Strip got flooded. This area got flooded here. Massive, massive landslides, houses flooded, streets completely washed out with massive boulders and rocks. It was quite amazing to watch. I was very lucky. I didn't suffer too much. But it was mind-boggling to see the wash. The wash is basically like they have in Los Angeles, these massive concrete river basins that are designed to take care of flash flooding and monsoons, and it did a very good job. But it still wasn't enough. There was so much water so fast. It's just mind-boggling. Hey, welcome to Uranus in Taurus. Welcome to Jupiter in Taurus, pending. Oh my God. Actually, I just made a note about that. Give me a second. Let me go over here. So, cheers. I'm having a little sip of Coke. So, right now, we've still got this big fat T-square, which no one else seems to be talking about. I don't understand it. To me, it's incredibly important and very obvious. We've got remnants of the big fat grand earth trine, and that will be activated again. But for right now, we have a lot of harmony between Sun and Mercury over here in Virgo, and Moon, Jupiter, and Uranus over there in Taurus. So that's bringing a little bit of ease of tensions to situations which otherwise is pretty combustible. Now, I've been trying to look for, I didn't understand the dates, but I found a date that really concerns me. And as far as I can tell, scrolling through the ephemeris, I can't do it right now here right live. I just made some notes. But you might want to mark your calendar. I know this sounds far, far away. 18th of April, 2024. So too far away to think about it. But at that point, Uranus will be conjoined with Jupiter at 21 degrees in Taurus. Okay? I see that as monumental when it comes to global financial issues. And a lot of things to do with, or anything to do with all the classic stuff I like to talk about here now and again in my preambles regarding earthquakes, hurricanes, volcanoes, tornadoes, flooding, fires, extreme, bizarre irregularities in weather patterns, extreme heat, extreme cold, jumping around like crazy. So just, I don't know, I'm marking it on my calendars already, just in case. I've got a few more dates. I posted a few videos about those dates, and I'll have to go back over them. We got time, so I'll just put these aside for now. These were markers for some of my homework I was doing earlier today. So we still have a lot of tension going on here between the Virgo-Pisces polarity. I see that is to do with sickness, disease. Oh, sadly, with the retrogrades, I feel that we're seeing the most unhealthy expressions of Neptune and Saturn, both in Pisces, and with Pisces, Neptune energy in the 12th house. From my perspective, it translates as we're seeing the worst of it, mostly to do with sickness, disease, perversions, abuse of power, money, anything and everything that you could call disgusting, gross, evil, tyrannical, tragic. It's just, we're almost at saturation point, but we have a long way to go. So it's almost like I'm trying to give people a bit of a heads up. With this aspect here, I've talked about it many times. Saturn still has a long journey to go through Pisces. And during that time, especially when we get to... Okay, I will tell you, I do have another date for you. This is even farther away, but please, just keep an eye open. You know how I wrote this little book, right? Let me just show you. I've reminded people many times. I wrote this book years and years ago, Wealth, Money, and Finance. It was all about what we're seeing today in the global financial system. And I called it Global Restructuring, January 2020. And why is that date so special? It's because that particular date hasn't had anything like that astrologically for thousands of years, where we had this massive convergence of planets all in one squashed up period of time around January in 2020. And I focused primarily on Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto, but there was a lot of other stuff going on at the same time. But what it marked, from my perspective, from my perspective, what it marked was the equivalent of like an EMP or a massive nuclear bomb or a grenade or something that very, very secretly, very, very quietly was released from way up above by a handful of, I would say, very nefarious, evil cluster of people who have a particular goal in mind, which to me doesn't sound very wholesome. But imagine if this thing, like a nuclear bomb, is very quietly dropped from way up above, and it lands in the Grand Canyon, for example. And nobody knows it happened. It just kind of goes, and it drops deep underground, even below the Grand Canyon, and then it goes. But the frequencies are so powerful and so deep and so low that we don't notice it on the surface of the planet. But what it was like was like sort of like an atomic bomb that went off January 2020, and it sent shockwaves across the world, sort of like a mushroom cloud. But again, you couldn't see it. The actual weapon was a bug with the number 19 attached to it. And that was just one aspect of one of the most obvious aspects of the invisible bomb that was dropped. And what it means is complete global restructuring. Everything, everybody, the way the countries are aligned, the way people behave, the way politicians, bankers, corporations, institutions, leaders, they change their behavior because the emphasis is on power. Power, money, and control. Now, why is that? It's because planet Pluto is emphasized at this point. I've talked about it many times. At the 27, 28, 29 degree mark, and also into Aquarius, the 0 and 1 degree mark. Maybe even 2 degree mark. And that's a time period of 5 or 6 years just to cross over the cusp of Pluto in Capricorn to Pluto in Aquarius. We're going to talk about this more and more and more over the next couple of years. I know it sounds crazy projecting out that far, but you really, really have to think of it that way because we're living through history. Astrological history that hasn't happened in thousands of years, probably 3, 4, 5,000 years, to get the cycles of patterns. Remember, if you think of how to describe it, it's like when you get these harmonious links of patterns. Let's say there's one wave pattern that goes like this, and another pattern that goes like this, and another pattern that goes like this, and another pattern that goes like this. You can't even see the pattern, but all these different wave patterns happening simultaneously, and then they all converge at one point where they all align with the astrological aspects. That's what I'm trying to describe here. Hello, Maria. Thanks for dropping by. It seems to be a very lonely, quiet crowd this evening. It's just you and me, as far as I can tell. Yes, it's just you and me. Maybe my channel's getting demoted even further. There's been a lot of internet problems here in Las Vegas because of all the flash flooding over the last few days. Lots of power cuts, power outages, lots of internet outages. So I don't know what's going on. It's been very, very, very choppy, but we're live right now. I can see from all the software that we're actually live streaming, so that's good. Anyway, it could also be that there's if there are notifications going out anymore on my channel, it could be that they're extremely delayed. Some people have been telling me that they just, doesn't matter what they do, they just don't get notifications anymore from my channel. Makes you wonder. Yeah, I'm safe, but it's been pretty scary. I don't know of any major deaths, but there's a lot of destruction here. A lot of homes got flooded, streets got flooded, massive landslides. If over here, just over here, are some huge mountains, and these mountains are, millions and millions of years old. They're very dry, rubble, boulders. And when they have heavy rainstorms, it just creates landslides. And these landslides fell all the way from here, all the way down into here, all over this neighborhood. And it's the same way up there, because you have to understand, like, Las Vegas is a pancake. And Las Vegas sits like a pancake inside a massive cast iron frying pan. The outside of the frying pan is like a vast circle of mountains that circumvent the whole of the city of Las Vegas. And of course there's roads in and roads out. And there's one section just way up here, about 20 miles, where there's a gap in the mountains and you can really see it. But otherwise everything else is mountains. So it's like a basin. And right in the middle over here there are some low points where there used to be, what do you call it, groundwater. There used to be rich green meadows around here 100, 200 years ago. But that's all gone, of course. This is the strip. This is the airport. And all the water flows down here. Okay, this is the low point of the low point. And then it heads off to Lake Mead over there. Anyway, yeah, we're good. We're good. We almost got flooded. I mean, the backyard, the water was that deep coming up to the backyard windows at the back of the house. But it was okay. Spectacular amounts of rain. Anyway, let me go back to the chart. I guess what prompted me to talk about that was the flooding. Yeah, Uranus in Taurus, Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter is just going to amplify all the crazy stuff. So if you want to have a volcano, have a big volcano. If you want to have a flood, have a flash flood. If you want to have hurricanes, I mean, it's been pretty crazy for China. I think I've talked about that quite a few times. I mean, China is just getting pummeled. China is getting pummeled astrologically. It's incredible to watch. I see very, very little of it on the media or the mainstream media, but I have a few sources, and it's very frightening. It's very disturbing, and I correlate 90% of it to the Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, 12th house energy for the world that actually affects China in the second house. Hey, Mr. Ross, good evening. It's just a small crowd tonight. It's just a couple of us hanging out. Anyway, over here. So what I wanted to point out is what I tend to do is I like to do homework when I can. When I get a chance, I like to sniff around the planets and the ephemeris and the charts, because I know that there are things like trigger points where you can see it in the world history, world politics, world finance, world events, especially when it comes to things like flooding. So it's happening right now, but I want you to mark your calendars. I know this sounds crazy. You don't even have your calendars yet. I don't even have my calendars yet. I won't be able to get my 2024s or 2025s for quite a while. But anyway, this is another date of critical mass. It is a major crisis point for the whole of planet Earth and humanity, okay? Give or take a few days, obviously, because we're dealing with Neptune. And it moves very slowly. But it's a crisis point where Neptune is at the 29.5 degree mark. Okay? No, I did not mention flooding at Burning Man, but actually it was horrific. I did see some of the videos. Thank you, Gregory. So with this, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm ready to go. So, when we get to Neptune 29 degrees around middle of March 2025, it's going to be a crisis point for Neptune energy. I believe there's going to be a lot of issues with water. It could be flooding. It could be monsoons. Things like rivers, lakes, streams. It could be to do with extreme pollution, something like that. But anything that's very tragic, scary, and critical with the most unhealthy, frightening aspects of Neptune energy. Neptune in Pisces in the 12th house. Yeah, Burning Man, I saw the videos. Actually, Love Triber showed me some amazing videos. There was the flooding, of course. The whole of Burning Man is in northern Nevada, I believe. It's just a big fat plateau of dust. It's just flat dirt and dust. And those people seem to not care too much. I know I couldn't do it. But anyway, so they got flooded. Major flooded. But also, because they like to have their big bonfires earlier on, there was a massive bonfire that they set going. And what it did, it triggered a fire tornado because of the changing circulating weather patterns. So what happened is the fire triggered more heat, and it accelerated, and it sucked up more and more hot air around itself. And so this huge fire expanded and burnt very fast, very hot, and it went upwards just like a tornado. That's why they call it a fire tornado. Gregory's hoping they get pounded with snow on the mountain. Well, yeah, that could be a good example. It could also be a little bit unpredictable because of Uranus in Taurus, and Jupiter in Taurus, that kind of thing. So just, Anyway, we'll find out. All you have to do is just sit back and observe, really. I love to blame it. I like to, align things with the planets because, you can predict things that way. At least I find that I can. I don't do it. I'm not doing psychic predictions with this stuff. I do it through my own, I would say, intuition, which I guess you could say that's sort of psychic. And then I look at my charts. I look at my ephemeris, and I look backwards in history. I look forwards in history. And then I come up with my thesis. I basically I cherry pick a handful of dates, and I mark them on my calendar. Just watch out. Sometimes it might be amazing. But mostly I'm looking for trouble points because that's where it gets very scary. Okay, it says over there for Maria, you're not strangers to flooding in Arkansas. No, I know. It's no fun, especially if you live in the country on the dirt road like we do. Also, again with flooding, are you on a slope? Are you in a place where there's a lot of hillsides and loose dirt to one side and flat on another? Are you at the bottom of a basin? Are you at the top of a hill? It makes a difference, Yeah. Oh, Maria, very good question. Where will that Neptune influence affect the most? All over the world? Yes, number one. But it will affect... Okay, let me go back to the chart for a minute. That might make it easier. Good evening and welcome. Now, all this, for example, Maria, when I wrote this is for the whole world. Everything I wrote in here, it regards the whole world. I doubt whether I'll write a book about all the other stuff, but I wish I could. Okay, so Maria, this date, it's far, far away, but we're going to creep there slowly. And the closer we get to the 29-degree mark, the more we're going to have the energy of crisis. It's going to be a point of critical mass, and we're going to see the most, I would say, disturbing, frightening, tragic aspects, the unhealthy aspects of Neptune, Pisces, 12th house type energy across Earth. And I feel there could be a lot of tragedy. It could be, people going berserk, humanity going berserk, countries, individuals. And the point I'm talking about in terms of the global chart, okay, this is the chart for today. But imagine, okay, let's see, what are we, mid-March? A year and a half from now, March 2024. Okay, so it's about a year and a half, more than a year and a half from now. What's going to happen is Neptune is going to move from here to here. Can you see that? It's just a little blob. It's going to go from here to here. When it reaches this point of critical mass, that's the point that I'm talking about. So, and there's more stuff to come because Saturn in Pisces is going to be involved in this as well. And for anybody, if you, for example, well, for the individual person, wherever that point lies in your chart, in other words, Pisces, 29 degrees, wherever that lies in the chart, Pisces, 29 degrees, Neptune will be there. And wherever you find Neptune in your chart, there will be losses, pain, suffering, disappointment, confusion, tragedy. There could be moments of bliss and beauty and awakening and connection to divinity, seeing angels, being as close to heaven and God and whatever as you could ever imagine. Okay? Oh God, here we go. Anyway, so if you are into doing your own personal research, your own astrology, oh God, I don't have any moderators here tonight. Hi Tina. Oh God. So anyway, if you have your own chart in front of you, or if you want to, you can do a consultation with TarotLumination, and we'll figure it out. But in the meantime, wherever, if you have your personal chart, you know what? I'm going to highlight Mr. Ross as a moderator. I'm going to add as a moderator. Here we go. Okay, oh yeah. There we go. All right, Gregory, I got you as a moderator. Thank you. We might need help here. Actually, no, I'm just going to get everyone as a moderator just in case. Just in case anybody feels motivated, you can do what has to be done to protect the channel. Okay. Give me a second here. Tina, I'm going to do the same thing over here. Bear with me. Okay, I'm trying to protect my channel at the moment, that's all. So, let me get back to the thing that I was trying to mention here. So, for example, let's say we had a private meeting and we were working on your astrology, trying to look for stumbling blocks and hot spots and advantageous times for your so-called future. One example we could look at is this point here. It would be right here. Where does that lie in your chart? It could be anywhere. Out of the 12 houses, it could be anywhere out of all the 360 degrees, but it will be somewhere. And wherever that degree lands with you personally, that's where you're going to feel it. And so it's a question of just doing deep dive analysis, that's all. But for the world, I believe it will have characteristics of, yeah, that would be the point on the birth chart. I'm not saying this is your birth chart, people. All I'm saying is that the Neptune in Pisces, 29 degrees, which is this particular date, long way from now, is going to be a point of critical mass. Some people might not even notice it, but for some people it could be tragic. For the world, it could be beautiful and tragic at the same time. Yeah. I'm sorry, Polo. I said, oh God. It's just an expression. It's just like if I got frustrated sometimes. I try not to use the word, oh God, too much. It's just that it's, you know, I'm not a young puppy anymore, and I learned a lot of bad habits when I was a kid, and I had some problems with language. My tongue was a little bit too coarse. And you have to be very careful with language and communication. You have to be very careful of what you say. What you say it, when you say it, where you say it, who you say it to, how you say it, and why you say it. what do they say? The words are very powerful. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Tonight, of course, we have the recurring, slow-moving, hard T-square between the South Node Libra, North Node Aries, hard squared by Pluto in Capricorn, 27, 28 degrees right here. It's a tremendous amount of pressure. I'll repeat it again from other. Okay, let's look at, there's the T-square. Look at that. Can you see? That's a T-square. Do you see that? That's why they call it a T-square. Because you have an axis of polarity with a hard 90-degree angle in the middle. In this case, it's Pluto, 90 degrees to the North Node, Pluto 90 degrees to the South Node. There we go. So it's a super high stress point, and the way I interpret it, I've said it many times now, is that it's a universal cry for humanity, for every single individual on this earth. All 8 billion people are starting to wake up and say, you know what? I need to be me. I have the right to be me. I want to own my own sovereign self. I want to be my own most awesome self, and I reserve the right to do that. So, I'm just making it my business to try and not only honor my own North Node from birth, but the North Node that is affecting the whole of humanity right now. It's a massive, massive, massive wake-up call. Come on, people, wake up. Love thyself. The most important thing is to be you, your most pure, uncontaminated, unperverted self. And instead of living a life where you abdicate the self towards others or a significant other or some sort of entity that is not you, that's where you get in trouble. A lot of people, humans are very social. Humans need other people to live. It's actually very, very, very hard for a single individual person to live utterly on their own for their own means. Eventually, most humans have to find a way to interact with another human being to get something that they need in one way or another. So human beings tend to congregate, like birds of a feather, like flocks, flocks of penguins, schools of fish. We flock in cities. Okay, here's Las Vegas. There's about 2.5 million people here, and they flock together. There's a central core. The whole of this city is built on losers. That's how Love Triber describes it. It's built on losers. Almost every penny that comes into this city is money that is lost through gambling. And all the ancillary stuff that goes with it. People come here to spend money because they equate spending money with having fun. They don't even care if they lose. They just want to have fun. So they go out and they go out to dinner, they go to parties, they go to events, they stay at hotels, concerts, everything, 24/7, okay? And so that's what people do. And we're constantly, let's say, moderating our behavior in the context of other people. That's what people do. You can't help it. But there's a question of balance and question of degree. If you are deliberately choosing to abdicate all responsibilities in life towards something or some entity that is not you, you're building yourself a time bomb. And a lot of people are starting to realize that now, especially in the world of personal finances. When you start to wake up and realize that your financial, material well-being frequently depends on a relationship with this thing outside of yourself called a bank or an investment manager or Social Security or SSI or welfare or savings, 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds. All of those things are activities in the world of money that are supposedly in the hands of people you can trust to serve your needs. And people are starting to wake up and realizing it's a lie. It's a complete lie. A lot of these so-called, basically the financial system is designed essentially to suck money out of you and filter it to a few people at the top. It's farming. They're just farming. They're harvesting your energy, okay? Do I have problems with language because I was born in Venezuela? No. I wasn't actually born in Venezuela, but when I was a kid, I used to get in trouble for some of the things I said. I was a little bit outspoken, sometimes. Anyway, so over here. So there's an intense pressure right now from external forces, in particular the most powerful forces on earth. That's the politicians, the bankers, the big institutions like the corporations, the unelected things like the United Nations, the World Health Organization, United States Federal Reserve Central Banking System, which is copycatted all over the world, military leaders, business leaders, corporate leaders, financial leaders. If you put all of them in one basket over here, they are putting tremendous pressure on you, the people, you, the person, to remain committed to a toxic, unhealthy default posture of outsourcing your well-being, your identity, your life path to someone or something else that is not you. And they benefit from that. So every time you choose a path that leads you further and further towards your own sovereign self, where you take full ownership and responsibility for yourself, your life, and your world as much as you possibly can in your own way, that's a problem for these folks here. A lot of that happens in the world of finance. We still have incredible upheavals in global finance because of Uranus in the second house, Uranus in Taurus, amplified by Jupiter in Taurus. The global financial landscape is in absolute turmoil, okay? And it's going to continue for years. Years. And it's all about restructuring. A lot of the times you won't even know it's happening because it's happening so slowly at the speed of Pluto, at the speed of Neptune, at the speed of Uranus. Most people, conscious people, are not aware of the astrological impacts of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. That's why they are called the transpersonal planets, because they don't really become associated with the more intimate aspects of life that you would do astrology for Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. For example, Indian Vedic astrology, they just go up to Saturn. Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. They don't even bother with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto because it's so hard to integrate that understanding into day-to-day life and relationships. However, in my world, with my particular views on astrology, I pay a lot of attention to the transpersonal planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because they affect everybody at the most profound gut level, in your hypothalamus, in your pituitary, in your guts. Okay? So it's very important. Well, to me it's very important to be aware of it. And it's important enough for me that I feel I need to share it. That's why I do these videos the way I do them. So, of course, this is never-ending piece of sacred geometry. It just goes round and round and round and round and round. The solar system just keeps doing what it does. Our solar system has been alive for almost 5 billion years, and according to the clocks, the way the astronomers figure it, we've got about another 4 or 5 billion years to go. But when it gets to that point where this solar system is completely gone, humanity and planet Earth and all the existing planets in our solar system will already have been completely engulfed by our sun when the sun goes supernova. It's like the whole solar system will no longer exist. We'll be gone long before that, because when the sun goes supernova, the heat will reach us and we will fry like little corn chips, burnt potato chips, before we ever get close to the end of the solar system. Anyway, that's a little far off in the future. We're not there yet. All right. Oops, sorry, excuse me. So, here we are. Let me check actually, before I get back, I want to just check the chart again for today. All right, tonight we have Sun in Virgo, Mercury in Virgo. The energy here is about what are we going to do, we the people, what are we going to do about all the sickness and disease and perversions that we're noticing, okay? Because it's really, really bad out there, and it's going to amplify, and we're going to see how bad it really is over the next 2 years. So we're looking at it right now because we've got the oppositions here. Also, in another year from now, we're going to go through the same oppositions, but a little same but different. Mars is very unhappy in Libra. Mars, if you think of energy of conflict, go-getter energy, it brings a sense of, let's say, I don't know, it's not hostility necessarily, but it can bring tension into relationships. Eventually Mars is going to conjoin the South Node, and I would not be surprised if we see a lot of rioting, a lot of looting, and insane mass crazy behavior like we're seeing in California, like we're seeing in Central Africa, Central North Africa. That's just one thing that's crossed my mind. So, yeah. Phew. Over there. Venus is over here in Leo. Very hard square to Jupiter and Uranus and the moon. Venus is not happy because of that. Venus is one of the money planets in terms of like things that we value, things like, gold and jewelry, beautiful clothes, beautiful watches, beautiful homes, beautiful furniture, beautiful people, hair, makeup, wardrobe, art, paintings, in the sign of Leo. And of course, Leo loves to shine, okay? And Venus in Leo loves to shine its energy of beauty. But it's, in other words, it would be really, put it this way, it would be really, really great right now if the world of global finance was working well. It would just be beautiful, but we're not quite there yet. It's going to take years for all of that global financial upheaval to be sorted out. I'm allowing 22 years. I know it sounds scary, but mostly it's going to be about a 20-year journey. Hopefully we're all going to be around to witness this, because it's mind-boggling. All right, let's have a look. Any questions? I'm just going to sit here and hang out. I don't have any bookings. It's okay. I'll just see if I can randomly hang out and do little mini questions. I'll do readings tonight if anyone's interested. I can handle a couple. Yeah. Actually, Tina, I was going to get in touch with you during the week because I was a little concerned. I got the feeling that you were a little bit sad, a little bit down, not quite sure what to do, how to direct your energy and things. And, for whatever reason, everybody's affected one way or another. I just didn't get to it. Oh, you booked a reading. Okay. All right, sure, no problem. Thank you, Mr. Ross. Yeah, over there in Santa Fe, you've got the mountains up north. I think even north of Taos or wherever you do your skiing. I can't remember. You know what I could do? Let me just check something for you, Mr. Russ. Of course, you got your local weather channels. You can check that as well. You've probably got your ski channels and ski charts. Let me just do something over here for fun. Okay, here's my new fun thing. I love this thing. It's an app called Zoom Earth. Okay, there we are. Oh, you ski actually in Santa Fe. Cool. All right, here we are on Zoom Earth right now. It's nighttime for a lot of the world where I'm looking, but can you see all those storms? And it's not showing up very clearly. I wish I should figure out other ways to do this. But there's a lot of storms right now. I'm going to go over towards Santa Fe. Over here. There's Albuquerque. And Jemez Springs is very close to Albuquerque. And we'll start to lose clarity. Thank you, Gregory. Okay, there's Santa Fe. I don't see a lot of precipitation there right now. Looks pretty cloudy over Albuquerque at this very moment. Anyway, I'm not going to do a weather forecast right now. Not a cloud in the sky. Cheers. Okay, thank you. Let me just make up your magic post-it notes while we're here. And we got one for Tina. Sasha, Charlie, and Ava. That's the names of the little furry ones, the big furry ones. Sasha. I don't know why I was so concerned recently. Sasha, Charlie, and Ava. Ava's still pretty young, if I recall. Here we go. Got it. Cloudy at 9,000 feet. Yep. Thank you, Tina. Alrighty. I'm just going to tuck this away. I'm going to keep these post-it notes because I feel that I have to do some videos on this stuff. Fluffles! Greetings! Alright, so here's just a quick overview for the month. Very, very quick, okay? Right now, today is the 3rd, so we're right here in this pink blob where Venus is effectively flipped direct at this moment in time. It's just come out of a retrograde period. As you can see here, it was retrograde all of August. It, creates difficulties with relationships, but we're moving on. Venus in Leo is happy now, happier, but at the same time, Jupiter's going retrograde. Jupiter in Taurus retrograde. Everything else is still fixed over here. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto all retrograde. Mercury is still retrograde. That's still a lot of retrogrades. Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Okay? That's a lot. The next, I guess, big event would be the 14th, where we have the Virgo new moon. Sun in Virgo, moon in Virgo. That will look like this over here. The moon will come all the way over here. And then around the 23rd, over here, the sun will be entering Libra for all the Libra folks. Mars will still be in Libra. And that's going to really accentuate a lot of things that are not working with Libra South Node vibes. Okay, so let's start planning for that. And let's have a look. And right at the end of the month, the 29th, we've got the full moon in Aries. That's when the sun is in Libra and the moon is in Aries. So it's going to be all about the North Node. Okay? A lot of pressure. These are themes I've been talking about for months now. And it's going to be amplified. So let's just, pay attention through September. September is a very good month for doing a lot of chores and business that you might not like to do, but it's got to be done. All these retrogrades, like whatever can go wrong, will go wrong, and please expect them to surface at this time. And what that means is it's about the revealing for the healing. So whatever comes up, please respect it and understand it's your body, your life, your world that is asking for healing. And it is revealing itself for the healing. Oh gosh, another one. Yeah, okay. That's probably all I can handle is 3 readings tonight. I don't know if I can get much more. I'm very jittery, kind of. I'm not jittery, I'm very, what's the word? I try to be as optimal as I can, but some of us have good days and not so good days. I think we're holding up pretty well, frankly. Fluffles, yeah, I'll just put you down, right? Okay? Yes. No problem. That's pretty good. There we go. All right, let's put this aside and we can get started, okay? Some people just come here for the banter and they like to hang out. Some people, they want their reading. Some people like the details of the astrology. I'm going to set this aside over here. I'm going to put this aside over here, give us some room to work. Alrighty. We got to start clearing some space. Dun, 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 dun. All right, we're good. This is looking good. I'm going to put this aside over here. Cheers, everybody. All right. It's funny, I was just doing some housekeeping on my channel. Just like, running this YouTube channel is just like running a little business or a house or a family or something. There's always stuff that has to be done. I just think of it as housekeeping, like clearing files, making sure the technology, all the softwares work. I run about 5 different softwares simultaneously in order to broadcast, and they're all highly susceptible to bugs, failure, losses. And you're going to make sure the internet's working as best as possible. All those things. And I was doing something today. I was checking the TarotLumination website, clicking buttons to make sure everything was coming up and working properly. And I just clicked the donate button on the donate page. And it just went like that. And I probably haven't seen it for quite a while, but it's very, very, very simple now. It's a very, very simple. Donate money. Here, you put your amount in the box and then click donate. If it's from another country, PayPal does the currency conversion. I don't even have to think about it. I think it's pretty amazing. Okay. You know what? The other day, Love Triber had this idea, like, hey, TarotLumination, why don't you do psychic shows? And I kind of retracted a little bit, because she was reminding me, like, whenever necessary comes on, whenever necessary truth drops by, we often get visitations from her invisible friends, John and Chris. Sometimes when we have a busy show, I'll get random stuff popping up from visitors like, oh, are you wearing a flowery dress? Or did you just get a haircut recently? Or, it could be anything. That's the thing about psychic information. It can happen in real time. Psychic information it isn't always about, like, going into a, like, I see your dead grandmother over here. It isn't always like that. In the psychic world, there's a kind of a very fuzzy veil regarding time. Like, what do you call the future? What do you call the present? What do you call the past? It's kind of a blur, the whole thing. For example, even with remote viewing, you can go into the future, you can go into the past, you can also remote view in the present. Anyway, it's a precarious world, because I've been doing it for a long time, and it's a very beautiful, powerful, amazing phenomenon. But in my personal experience, what I found is that psychic phenomena occur to me only according to the will of heaven. Like, if somebody needs me, they reach out, and I connect, and it happens spontaneously. It could be anybody from anywhere for anything. Running the channel is a little bit different, because I was pushed into it by my own invisible friends, and here we are today, 6 whatever it is years later, and that's fine, it's great. But I was never very keen on the idea of psychic mediumship as a profession. I've done it, and I can be extremely accurate, terrifyingly accurate, but again, when you go into that world, there's not a lot to hold on to. For example, in the world of astrology and tarot, at least I have props. I can hold on to a tarot deck. I can make my astrodoodles, and that keeps me grounded. But when you're in the world of psychic mediumship, you don't need any props. There's nothing. It's just you and your pituitary gland, and that's about it. So I'm a little bit, I'm not going to rush into it anytime. Let's put it that way. All right. Got to shuffle it up a little bit. Oh, you're having a Jupiter return. Okie dokie. Oh, you know what? I just thought of something. Now you mentioned that, Tina. Because Jupiter just turned retrograde right now. Can you remember, Tina, we'll do your reading soon, but can you remember, in the meantime, were you born with Jupiter retrograde or Jupiter direct? And what particular degrees, if you can recall? Just thought I'd ask. Just curiosity, All right, here, let's bless this beautiful deck. Bless every single card. you know, in a way you could say the tarot readings are a form of psychic communication. But it does involve props. In a way, I mean, that's how I look at it, okay? And so, if you think of it as a tool, if I think of the astrology and the tarot combined, it's like a tool that makes it, it kind of gives access, like a view into the psychic world where there is no official time zone. It's like the past is the present is the future, and it's all happening at once. You're a Jupiter retrograde. Aha! So if you were born with Jupiter 24 degrees and it's retrograde, we're not close to 24 degrees yet, so there's a build-up. It'll be quite a while. It's going to be well into next year. Let's bless this deck. Bless every single card. Let's bless the channel, the algorithm, the notifications, the scribes, the likes, all the softwares, microphones, cameras, cables, internet, the curators, the invisible arbiters of truth, the censors, all the censorship. Let's bless them. Let's see if I would love it. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could actually unlock the algorithm on this channel and let it breathe again? Anyway, we're still breathing. Some of us, we've got some serious history together. Also, Gregory, you got a point, because it's happened quite a few times on this channel where someone will book a little mini reading, and there's a little crowd, you know, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 people or something, and then someone will chime in randomly like, oh my God, that reading was for me too, you know? It happens. So when you're booking a reading here, like Gregory, Tina, and Fluffles, they all booked a reading. If other people watch this show, these videos, it's possible like they would be drawn. Love Triber tries to assure me that people who need to see the channel will find it. They'll be drawn by nature, and they will resonate with a certain reading. They're like, oh my God, that's relevant to me, to my life too. It's very weird like that. Very, very strange. Amazing how it all works, really. All right, here we go. Let's have a look. All right, Gregory, you're up. Let's put you front and center. I'm going to put Tina and Fluffles off to the side right now so you get full attention here on the screen. There we go. Beautiful deck ready to go. We'll do a blind reading. Now, you know, Gregory, the reading is probably going to come up with perhaps some kind of allusion to previous situations or history that we've shared together. Let's have a look here. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to deal with things, okay? And let's have a look at external influences. So we've got the Magician. I'm actually very happy to see this card here for you externally, Gregory. You might not notice it. You might be like, huh? What? What? But what I'm sensing with this card is, it's a little bit, I'll try and act it out. It's just like, okay, here's TarotLumination, right? I'm hanging out in the studio, broadcasting, doing these readings live across the country and wherever else in the world. Australia, New Zealand, I don't know, England, whatever. And you're on the other side. There's Gregory Ross over there. And you're just being you. And I get the Magician card. And as soon as the moment I saw the card, it was like, Wake up, TL. Wake up, TL. You got to tell Gregory to wake up. Wake up, Gregory. You got to understand it. In your own way, you're blessed. It's almost you're blessed to the point where you don't know, what am I supposed to do with all of that? My feeling is that the Magician card here is a reminder that it's like, given your natural gifts and talents, you know your strengths, okay? You know your weak points. And then there's all the unknown factors, of course. But what I feel the Magician card is telling you here is like a reminder in slow motion. Gregory, wake up. Please understand that there's a lot going on out there. You've got tools at your disposal. You've got the pentacles. You've got the wands. You've got the swords. You've got the cups. All of it. You don't have to like lean this way or lean that way. It's all out there. It's an energy field that is it's in full flow, and it's available to you. It's actually available to you at all times. It's a question of whether you're aware of it. It's like, are your switches turned on? Are your valves turned on? Are you ready, willing, and able to receive the healing power of love, own it, and then transmit that stuff outwards? It's like having a very clean, pure instrument. I call it a transceiver. You have to receive in order to transmit. And it's very, very easy to get congested, just like a filter, like a clogged up sink, a clogged up toilet. I'm not saying you're constipated. All I'm suggesting is that it makes me feel like maybe just maybe in this reading my role is to give you a big shake up, wake up call, like to purge. So everything can flow naturally again, you know? So all aspects of your nature in terms of tarot can flow in their maximum power, okay? There you go. It's in print. I'm very blessed. Hello, Kaylee. You were here last week, weren't you? So, Gregory, here's the thing. I have to do this to myself several times a day. It's like, I do the same thing, okay, Gregory? TL, wake up. Remember, you're a very lucky man. You're a very wealthy man. You're a very blessed man. You're a very happy man. Get real, you know? Seriously, okay? So, there we go. All right, here we go. To me, this is like a big wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, Gregory. Come on. Okay, now what's the situation itself? We've got the Fool card. My gosh, we've got some really powerful cards here. So, my feeling with the Fool card here is that there's a part of you which is just itching for adventure. Somewhere to go, something to do, people to see, places to conquer, things to have, whatever it is. Like, it's out there, baby. Truly, truly out there. So the question is, where do you start? Maybe it's the skiing. Maybe it's a little mini road trip. Maybe it's doing something you've never done before, and you've never even crossed your mind, but you might have had a curiosity, like, oh, you know, because we get to a point in life where we have certain habits and patterns, okay? What I'm sensing with the Fool card here is that you're at a point, like a moment of divinity, where it's just like, let's just say you do the purge, you plunge the toilet, you snake the sink, or whatever it is, and you are fully operational Gregory Ross, like a car that's just come out of a tune-up, like you've come out of a tune-up and a fix-up and a car wash, and everything is just as great as it can be. And you realize, wow, you know what? Here, I'm just going to have to act it out. I'm sorry. It's just like, you know what? I'm over here in Santa Fe. This is my life. I have my bubble at the microscopic level, and then it expands. It goes out and out and out. Like a city. I know this road. I know that road. Are there any back roads or little pathways or little adventure places where you've never been before, where there's like a degree of curiosity, like, oh, I never even thought of going over there? Is there a little ghost town? Is there a place where there's a very unique little tiny bar, or a little tiny weird, taco stand or a restaurant way out in the wilderness or something? I'm just talking crazy stuff that might never have occurred to you. Maybe go south of Santa Fe, maybe east, maybe west. I'm not saying you have to go on a journey. It just makes me feel like by doing this, like, wake up, it's like being born again and having fresh air, fresh life, and then like do something brand new. Brand new. All right, now what's the challenges here? Because this is a really powerful energy field. It makes me feel as though it's almost like you're accidentally got trashed by the surf waves. We're waking you up. You're back on the surf waves, and it's just like, oh my God, wow, this is where am I going? Like, where does that surf wave take you? All right, what's the problems here? Okay, so we've got the little Two of Cups. It makes me feel, I'm going to just come out with it, Greg. I hope you don't mind. But it makes me feel, it's like, deep down you wish, like, for all this great stuff we're talking about here, it would be so nice to do it with a cuddle buddy. Someone where you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be romantic or anything like that. It could just be like, oh, I'm just trying to simplify this, like a little road trip with someone. Someone who thinks you're nice and you think they're nice, and maybe you hardly even know each other, but I've done that before, where I connect with someone who's effectively a stranger, and next thing you know, oh, we're going to go to the shooting range. Oh, wow, that's cool. Ha ha! Have you ever done that before? No? Well, come on! And instead of having to, like, maybe think, what am I going to do in life right now? It's like, well, what am I going to do in life right now that still puts you in charge? You're being the whole boss of you, but you're not swamped in South Node, leaky, unhealthy, toxic relationships. I'm talking about maybe something very simple, pure, new perhaps, a little different, where there's no encumbrances, no expectations, but it's all based on the purest, simplest intentions. And my only concern here with this card in this position is that deep inside you, this might be something that you're already longing for, but it's not quite there yet. It doesn't have to be romantic. Sometimes you can get an awful lot of joy out of a friendship that can surpass the joy of romance. Just thought I'd throw that in there. So how are we going to deal with this moving forward? Gregory, hold on. Gregory going to D.C. in September. Whoa! Anywhere in New Mexico you can find those places. Okay, let's have a look. So how are we going to deal with this going forward? You've got the Six of Swords. Like, you really got to get off your butt, get out there and out and about. But I'm talking short term right now. Let's forget the DC trip in September. I'm thinking like maybe you could plan for it now. But do you have any buddies over there in DC that you could connect with? Maybe a long time that you might have forgotten about, but they're there. Maybe if it's all business, does it have to be all business? If it's all about rekindling old things, or if it's something tragic like a funeral or something or whatever, maybe there's a way to bring some camaraderie into the situation, okay? So going forward, but again, this is very much about travel light, okay? Buddies in DC. In other words, okay, so let's condense and consolidate here. Going forward, definitely travel and having fun, especially with buddies, would be very, very good for you right now, especially to get out of your current existing bubble of existence. You know, like the 20-minute drive north, south, east, west of where you live around the Santa Fe area, because we all know that you live around there. Okay, just say it. So the way forward, the way out of this is to literally seize the moment and go out on the adventure, enjoy it. Travel very, very light. Travel with the least amount of expectations, and focus on the fun and the friendship, even though you might be a little apprehensive that there's some fragility there. Don't worry about it. Go anyway. Have fun. I think this looks really all about just get out there some way, somehow, and have fun. Like to break the spell. Like, this is very, very powerful, but like I said earlier, it makes me feel like it's constipation. And so it's time to break that, like plunging the toilet, snake the sink, adventure. And share that, okay? Make sure that you are with people who love you and people you love, okay? And just enjoy it in the very lightest, most fun, enjoyable way possible, whatever that looks like. You know, I don't know what to do in D. I was in DC when I was a little child, and I honestly I didn't like it. It creeped me out, the whole thing. I loved the Smithsonian Museum, but that was it. Everything else, it really made me feel very creepy. So yeah. Yeah, I would say, like you said, clear the pipes, but even do some of that, like a purging, even before you take the trip, okay? I mean, it's not long. We're already in September. We're talking over the next few weeks or so. Like with all these retrogrades, Venus retrograde, no, Mercury retrograde here, Venus is now direct. It's a great time to move forward with friends and relationships and having fun. Venus in Leo loves to have fun, whatever your sign is, okay? So with all the retrogrades here, this would also be a really good time to do like catching up, especially if there's more than one friend over there. If it's a cluster of buddies. But again, a Six of Swords here, travel very light. Travel very light with minimal expectations, and just bring with you your natural, awesome self. And you can be very discreet, but you can come carrying the cup of love. Oh, what's this? One of my native artist clients, who I sold the in-market cover painting for, is having a showing at the Smithsonian. Whoa! Oh my God, that's a big freaking deal. Oh wow, my God, and we were just talking about the Smithsonian. Well, I was. Oh, that's so freaking cool, man. Oh. That's amazing. Oh, wow. I hope we hear more about that story when you get back. Or maybe you can connect with us while you're traveling. That would be really cool. All right, thank you so much, Gregory. It was a real pleasure to read for you. Let's have a look. Next up, we got Tina. Okay, I'm going to shuffle it up. I have to get a little beverage here. I should be okay. So, here we are. Okay, Tina, you're up. Yeah, I think my app, it showed that things were pretty cloudy. You're 6,000 feet up at the cabin, right? But Albuquerque's further down the mountains, if I'm correct. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for some reason, maybe it's psychic. But I felt a lot here for you, Tina, during the week. I don't know what it was or anything, but it felt like wispy, dreamy energy where somehow you were in this sort of alternative space, alternative energy field where what's it called when when you dissociate? The only way I can describe it right now is like, let's say somebody has a major car crash or something and they have one of those near-death experiences and they sort of separate from their body and they realize, my God, there's so much more to life than my physical three-dimensional body and my actual existence here on Earth. And in every story that I encounter, there's always a theme of peace, love, beauty, and serenity, which is what we all want at the core. Even the most tragic, broken criminals, the most evil, despotic tyrants, deep, deep, deep in the deepest pit of their soul, all they want is love. But anyway, so what I felt was that there was a sort of a dissociation going on where it was almost like it's just like, damn, I wish I didn't have to deal with all this like grinding three-dimensional stuff. Things like time, things like chores, things like all the limitations of the physical body. And it was such a strong feeling. It's just like, it's like you were dissociating and there was this wispy sort of Tina Miller where you had like your energy, your aura had expanded profoundly as you were sort of, it wasn't full like dissociated. There was no car crash or anything. But if you were saying you were sick, a lot of coughing, you know, it might be that the soul was looking for a little bit of relief, and so it started to dissociate a bit. Let me just, how else can I describe it? Anyway, I sensed it quite a lot. I felt that you were very, very in touch with the ethereal realms, and that your animals were with you, Charlie, Sasha, and Ava, and they were there for you as much as you're there for them. I don't know if any of that makes sense to you, but that's what I was feeling. It kept coming and going all week. Okay. Cards are well shuffled, and you've been sick. Knocked on your butt in bed. Oh, you poor thing. You know what happens? Like, you know, when I've been sick, months and months ago, I think it was in February. I was really sick for like 10 days. 4 days of it, I was bedbound. Cough, cold kind of thing. And a few days before and weeks afterwards, I'm pretty much okay right now, but you get to these points where you almost feel like you're hallucinating, or you're literally you're dissociating. You're not awake, you're not asleep. Your body is so incapacitated that you're kind of like you're transcending your physical 3D world. So I didn't really sense any sickness, Tina. All I did was sense a like a transcendence, yeah, let's just call it transcendence. Okay, cards are very nicely shuffled, very pristine. Let's have a look. What kind of messages do we have here for Tina tonight? Let's have a look. Obviously, it would be great if you could get well and heal. Oh, that's probably what it is. Your mind was in a dream. Okay, all right. Thanks for affirming that, Tina, because I was picking it up very, very strongly. Maybe your aura was spreading out for thousands of miles, which it can do. You know, that's what happens with remote viewing. Anyway, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at external energies. We have a long history together as well, Tina, so that might permeate the reading. So with the Five of Wands here in the background, it makes me feel that all the so-called basic three-dimensional circumstances that you're dealing with right now are a bit of a challenge, obviously, whether it's to do with the job, the health, the communications, the house, the property, all the actual, you know, the physicalities of three-dimensional life, having to deal with everything on a day-to-day basis. It's out there, and you're dealing with it, number one, because you have to, and sometimes there's an expression that comes with the Five of Wands, like, because I think it very much is like a form of training, like athletic training, or like what people do in order to stay active and fit, like they do in the military, for example, or in sports, for example. Like really capable athletes, capable soldiers, capable armies, capable businesses, they're always at it. Like when they're not actually engaged in the moment of critical activity, they're doing training in the background. You know, like the military, like basketball or something. I don't know a lot about sports. I was very athletic when I was a kid, but in very unconventional sports like sailing and rowing, sport rowing, high-speed rowing, where the boat is about this wide, and it's about as long as your living room, a very long, narrow thing. So you can row very, very fast, but more or less in a straight line. That's it. But anyway, I would do, just as an analogy, I would do months and months of training, 3 or 4 times a week, just for one competition. So when I see over here for you, when I see the 5 of Wands, it's almost like this is just another day in the life where you're just dealing with all the usual challenges that come with it. But the thing about the energy of the 5 of Wands is that a lot of the energy coming at you that would be unwelcome. In other words, like an athlete or like a bodybuilder or a fighter training, you don't, sometimes, a lot of the times you don't know where the stresses and the challenges are coming from. But that's the whole point of the training exercise, is to get you and for you to stay in an optimal condition so that when really serious things happen, you'll already be in the flow, so to speak. So when the serious thing happens, you can just go clickety-click, clickety-click. Oh, okay. So right now, it might be that the circumstances are really seriously testing you, but it's definitely not the end of the world. It's literally almost like going through really intense training, which can be very challenging on the body and the mind and the heart and the soul. All right, let's have a look at the situation itself. Again, look at that. The 9 of Wands. So again, you might feel like you're totally, utterly up to your neck in it for whatever reason. I'm not sure. I don't know if I can be really constructive or helpful with the astrology right now. I'm not. Hold on, give me a second. So I'm not sure about the exact angles, but if I recall, you've got a strong Scorpio theme somewhere. I think, was it Sagittarius as well? I can't remember. But all Scorpios right now are under intense pressure externally. Okay? Let's just run with it. I believe there's a strong Scorpio component, in which case let's put the Scorpio on the horizon here. Okay? And what does that do? It puts Taurus in the 7th house of open enemies, of challenges in everyone and anything that's outside of you, that's not you. In other words, your relationships with, co-workers, contractors, all the people out there, the neighborhood, the neighbors, the environment, all the stuff outside that's not you. Okay? And that's a lot of pressure. And it shows here. And you're dealing with it. Part of it, there's a part of it, I hate to have to call it out, but it's a result of accumulated life decisions that get you to this point where all you can say is, well, I'm part of the equation, Like, it's not as though you are completely outside the equation and there's challenges out there. It's like you have to understand in the world of relationship. Okay, there it is. I see it on the screen. 12th house Scorpio Sun conjunct Neptune. Okay, so it might be very, very difficult at times to discern the nature of the stress, the nature of the open enemy, the nature of the challenges. And it would just feel like some amorphous, undefined challenge. I mean, there's so many things that you could put your finger on technically as challenging circumstances in your life, in your world right now, if you wanted to. We've talked about it in other readings, okay? But in this reading right now, it looks like an accumulation of all of it at once, which would be the equivalent of like let's say like an athlete or a soldier. And they're every day you wake up, you go through training, just to prepare for that one day where the alarm goes, the bell goes, ding, 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 and you have to do what you got to do as the athlete or the soldier. Okay, it's game on, people. It's game on. But when I see these two cards together, the way they're showing up right now, it's like you've been taken to the limit, and it has to be on the understanding that you threw yourself into the ring. And this is what happens when you completely throw yourself, immerse yourself into the ring of life. Especially with that Neptune conjunct, it could easily indicate, well, you're already involved in healing as an art form, as a career. But also for yourself, it could indicate that there could be some like conditions, health conditions, like what we're dealing with right now, like you're sick in bed, coughing, and all that stuff. That can be very, very hard to diagnose and consequently hard to heal. So in some ways, the best thing to do is acknowledge that you might have like accumulated a lot of stressful things that on their own, yeah, you can handle that. You can handle that. You could handle that. But when they all start to accumulate and pile up into one thing, it can break you. It can break your physiology, your body, mind, heart, and soul, where your immune system, your actual immune system, and the will to live reach a break point. You've got the will to live, but the physical body is just like, you know, which would be where you are right now. And yeah, you could blame everyone else out there. Let's say there's 10 stress factors that are really bugging you right now. You could blame each and every one of them. But in the end, you are still part of that equation. None of that stuff would be happening to you unless you were part of the equation. So it's like to me it looks like this is an accumulation of multiple stress factors that are being, let's say, very quietly, very subtly building up over an extended period of time, and then just like that, you're down. Like, have you ever seen the movie $1 Million Baby? What's her name? The actress, I can't remember. But she's ambitious. She loads herself up with all sorts of challenges, and it's mostly to deal with her own inner nature regarding herself. Who am I at my core? So she decides to go into the world of professional female boxing, and it's an amazing journey. It was a fictional book, but it was very stressful, and she put herself in the ring consistently to the point where she was obliterated. Hilary Swank. Thank you. Anyway, I agree. I was taken out of the equation this week. Oh. Taken out. Yeah. Thank you, Hilary Swank. Yeah. She did an amazing job in that movie. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm sensing here. Like you're knocked out. You're literally knocked out of the ring. Okay, what are the challenges? Okay. With the King of Wands here, this makes me feel like... Sorry. Give me a second, Fluffles. Let me finish the reading. No, I didn't. I'll just tell you. Well, my channel gets hacked pretty frequently. I've been attacked a lot. I've had videos obliterated, warnings, strikes. It gets really, really tedious, and my channel is so tiny. I don't know why they keep coming after me. Anyway, so with the King of Wands, Tina, my feeling here is that it's like this is very much to do with strength. I feel this is very much to do with the energy of strength, dominance, willpower, the will to live, the ability to overcome any obstacle, not by vicious, nasty means, but by simply the raw, immutable energy of the amazing power of life that comes into you the minute that you're born. Well, even before you're born, it happens when you're conceived and you're born into it. And for you, Tina, to have lived the life that you've lived, to take on all the stresses that you've taken on, part of it was like, bring it on, but it makes me feel like you've reached a plateau here where you're questioning yourself. This is the very powerful masculine aspect of yourself, which is what is needed in order to not only activate the will to live, but to perpetuate the will to live so that you can overcome all obstacles. So you might be feeling that inside of you, the fighter has been taken to the ground. Literally, just like when Hilary Swank gets knocked, pulverized onto the ground, only to get up again later on, okay? So that's an understandable fear, because this would make you, seriously doubt your own strength, your own abilities, your own willpower, your own viability, being your own hero, being your own savior. It's like God, once you realize, like, my God, no one's coming to save me, that means I have to save myself? Oh no. Oh no. God, wouldn't it be so nice? Wouldn't it be so nice, Tina, if somebody with a massive magic wand could come in and save you and fix it all for you? All right, so how are we going to deal with this going forward? All right, so going forward, I think this is to do with all the retrogrades right now. It looks to me like there are no exact answers at this very moment. Tina Miller is also making notes here. Let me look. Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius south node. Okay, so with that information, do you see this? The Virgo Pisces axis over here. Now I'm talking very loosely, okay, Tina? But on a global scale, for weeks now, we've had the Virgo Pisces axis has been heavily lit up. And it's all to do with health. Finding out what's not working. All the disease, all the sickness. You've got to reveal it to heal it. And then the Virgo energy is like, okay, now that we have an idea what's wrong, how have we diagnosed it? What exactly is the problem? Oh, now you know what the problem is. How are we going to fix it? Okay? So this axis is very, very strong and active right now. It's been that way for weeks. It's going to continue to be that way for weeks. And guess what, Tina? This axis, this astrological axis transits here, is in a hard square to your Sagittarius vibe. Sagittarius south node. Okay? Gotta learn Gemini. Well, the thing about the Sagittarius south node is that you might just naturally feel that you're bigger, stronger, more capable, more adventurous, and you could take on a lot more than you're actually capable of doing. And that would be classic Sagittarius. Like, yeah, I could climb that mountain. No problem. Jeepers. I've done it before. I'll do it again. In fact, bring it on. I'll do an even bigger one. And then realizing, wait a minute. So with the Gemini North Node, I don't know if you've got anything accenting the Gemini North Node. But anyway, this polarity here is in very hard angle to your Sagittarius vibe. I'm just taking it with the full 30 degrees. This is very hard to this right now. So it sounds like you've probably got a lot of pressure on your south node, illustrating perhaps the things about the south node that are not working for you anymore. In other words, like, You might have bitten off more than you could chew. You might have been naturally confident, which would be your natural, very natural thing for you, and then to discover that there are things out there that may feel like they're against you, to the point, well, wait a minute, normally I can solve this, I can fix this, I can overcome it. And then realizing, my God, some of the problems I have to deal with are just microscopic, minuscule little details. It's so freaking annoying. Why can't I just live my life in the big picture mode that I like, that I'm used to? I'm good at that. And what I see here at the moment with the High Priestess is that there's no clarity. And I think the reason is there's no absolute clarity right now to any situations. And there's no point in expecting absolute clarity and answers right now, because it's not the right time. Okay? Sometimes I use that expression, whatever is mine comes to me, whatever is not mine moves away. But that requires a huge amount of trust in divinity. The other version of that is, dear guardian angels, invisible friends, heaven, God, please bring to me that which is mine. Please take away from me that which is not mine, so that I can just, clear everything out and deal with what is my life. But the clarity isn't there at the moment, and I think a lot of that is because of the Neptune fog. Over here, Saturn is in Pisces, Neptune is in Pisces. You've got that Neptune close to your sun. So Neptune is a very important aspect, a theme in your chart. Okay? So let's try to distill this down to a simple thing. Right now, at this very moment, Tina, there's no clarity, there's no solutions about what to do, how to do it, how to think, how to behave. To me, it makes me feel as though, again, I'm going back to the analogy of that movie, $1 Million Baby, where Hilary Swank, I don't know, did you ever see the movie, Tina? I hope you did see it. If not, if you can find a way to watch it for free, that would be great. But in the movie, the boxer girl, you never imagine her being a boxer, but it's like she has to do something to prove this to herself, and she takes on this outrageously, overly ambitious goal. And her friends and family and the coach, which is Clint Eastwood, it's like, God, dear girl, you're a young, skinny girl. Why do you want to go into the world of professional female boxing? You're going to get destroyed. You're just going to be miserable. You're going to be in a lot of pain. Why? And she's just like, I got to do this. I got to do this. And you're the only coach. You're the best. You got to coach me. And she doesn't give up. It's just like, ugh. Clint Eastwood is like, oh God, please don't drag me into this. No, you didn't see it. Okay. Anyway, so $1 Million Baby, she trains and trains, and she trains so hard that she takes herself to the absolute break point where, she gets knocked out, obliterated by all the challenges that she takes on in her training, to the point where she's down on the ground, out. And then Clint Eastwood is like, well, I told you so. What do you expect? And $1 Million Baby is completely crushed, completely pulverized. But the show's not over. Anyway, it has a happy ending. So, rest assured, Tina, it's not the end of the world. It makes me feel like you're absolutely knocked out right now, and it's an accumulation, like in a boxing fight. Like, you're doing okay, but you take one too many blows, and eventually, like, there's just one more little one, and it just goes, ugh. And all the accumulated external stresses, it just turns into one big pile of mush, and you go down, which is where you are now. That's probably what I was sensing earlier, where you had dissociated and you're like, I'm out of my body. I just need to be completely out of my body right now. That's it. So, with the High Priestess, it's like, right now, it's okay to be out. It's okay to be out of your body. It's okay to be dissociated. It's okay to just not know what happens next, or how, or why, or with whom. It's just, it's almost like live with the pain, live with the suffering for now, and trust that your body will heal, and you'll find ways, and then you'll gradually, gently recalibrate, okay? So we have to keep in touch. If you don't mind, I'll keep in touch with you in the very near future, okay? Thank you, Tina. I hope that helped you. All right, let's have a look. Okie dokie. All right, let's have a look here. Fluffles, you're up. Now I gotta go back into the chat because I see a lot of notes for you, so give me a second here. Where are we? Okay, there it is. TL, here's my question. I met this younger man who's super sweet and we've been hanging out having fun, but he seems super into me super fast. Not sure if that's because he's just trying to sleep with me. I wonder. Sounds weird, but I'm just not sure about him. Fluffles, sorry, Tina, sorry. Okay. Tina, you know so much about your horoscope and your chart. That's very cool. You love that. Okay, yeah, that's true. Tina, yes, she does, actually. Thank you. Do you ever just want to go do blind readings for me, TL, instead of me asking questions? I was curious about that. It's up to you, Fluffles. I mean, sometimes with blind readings, you get the stuff that you need to know that you didn't even know that you needed to know. That's the benefit of a blind reading. The benefit of a specific reading is that you're focusing on something that concerns you in your waking consciousness. It's a very different thing. Well, your astrology is the script to the story. I mean, it is absolutely, Tina. Well said. That's very well said. It is very much like a script, because how can we do this? I don't have a way to illustrate it right now, but let's use the script analogy from Tina. The way Western astrology works, they take the moment of your birth as the moment where they put that's the marker point. Let's say, okay, you're born at blah blah a.m. On so-and-so date in so-and-so location. And with today's modern astrology and the computers and everything, they can pinpoint it exactly to what all the planets and asteroids and the constellations and the stars and the fixed stars and the nodes and all of that, what they're doing at that moment. It's extremely accurate, and they use an ephemeris. This ephemeris is the same thing that they use for planning, Hubble telescope missions and the Indian Explorer missions and the International Space Station missions and the SpaceX launches and all of that. They work from an ephemeris so they can calculate exactly what is the gravitational pull that will move the spaceship and the satellites in a certain direction that works. So it's the same thing with the astrology of you, the individual. At the moment of birth, you can take that as a blueprint, like a snapshot. And as you move through life, of course, the planets are just whizzing and whizzing and whizzing and whizzing. And as they go around and round, somebody was talking about a Jupiter return earlier. So that's roughly every 12 years. So when you're 12 years old, you will have your first Jupiter return. It might be very exciting. It might be very fun. Who knows? Let's see. What's another one? The most famous one is the Saturn return, because people equate that to pain and suffering. Because the Saturn cycle is about every 29 and a half years. So you're born with Saturn in a certain position on your astrology chart. It's, let's say, here. And then 29 and a half years later, it goes all the way around and ends up back to here again. Now, Saturn is the planet of karma, and you reap what you sow. So if you made a lot of really bad decisions that had a lot of bad outcomes, and you get to that point a year, 29 and a half years later, and you're looking at your life and you're going, oh my God, my life is a misery of hell and pain. Then as an astrologer, I would go, ding ding, excuse me, how old are you? Oh, you're 29 and a half years old. There you go. So tell me all about the decisions that you made in your life. Who influenced you and how did you respond? And so on and so on. Now, some people have a spectacular Saturn return, like some pop star or something. They're like 27, 26 or whatever, and they're world famous and they're multimillionaires. And by the time they reach 29 and a half, 30 years old, they've already lived their life. It's spectacular. That's their Saturn return. Okay. So, and it happens for all the planets. It happens for the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Because they're all whizzing around. And whenever they have a certain moment that strikes certain angular aspects in your birth chart, let's say there's your birth chart and then there's the birth chart of the world today, you can overlay them and you can see the stress points and the bountiful points. That's what we do here. So, in a way, Tina is right. It's like a script, because you can take a person born at a certain time and date with a certain astrology, and you can go forward 12, 15, 30, 45, 60 years, and you can pinpoint things Just like you can turn to a page in a book, like let's say it's 100 pages and you get to page 66. You could go to the astrology for that moment and you could describe circumstances accordingly. Now let's get back to Fluffles. So let's have a look. I know my sounds funny, but he's sending flowers and spoiling you. I just don't know if he has an angle. Okay. Before I even do your reading, if I was a guy and I was sending flowers and spoiling a certain woman, it would be because partly, number one, I'm trying to impress her. Number two, I find her attractive, so attractive that I'm doing these very obvious forms of expression, trying to earn your favor. I don't know much about it. There's the languages of love or something. For some, I don't know much about it. Some people might know about it. Apparently there's 5 languages of love. One of them is gift. One of them is actions. One of them is word. I don't know anything about it, but one thing. Okay, here's another thing. Again, Fluffles, before we even go into the reading, I have been that guy. I have been attracted to certain women, and I'm just like, oh, I'll make them a little piece of art. I will buy them a piece of jewelry. I get them flowers. We travel together and do fun things together, and I'll pay for it. Or something like that. We'll go have a meal. Whatever it is. A lot of times it's backfired really, really, really badly. Okay, you might just be... Okay, I'm just going to keep reading the notes. No, you haven't done anything with him, but he clearly has an angle. He wants to get into your pants. He probably has fantasies about you, like maybe you're a mother substitute, or maybe you're like the ultimate, what do they call it? It's a slang word. I'm not going to get into the language stuff here, but he's probably a horny young lad, and he's probably sick of like the local young girls, and he wants a real woman, you know. He makes great money, pays for everything, so clearly not looking for money. He's got his own nice stuff. That's pretty freaking cool. Oh man. All right, let's do the reading. Let's just see what comes up, okay? Oh God. Oh, I'll just do a quick confessional here. This is really bad, especially for Tina and all the professional health caregivers who come to this channel. Years and years and years ago, I was in a lot of pain. I was on opioids, morphine, oxycodone and stuff, back and forth at doctors and hospitals, chiropractors. I ended up at this one place where the chiropractor was this lovely woman. And I was like, and I kind of developed a crush. And she was in training and I was the guinea pig. So I got free service and there were supervisors and everything, but I couldn't control myself. I didn't have any money. I didn't have anything to prove. I didn't have tons of nice stuff. So I'm not the guy that you're dealing with, Fluffles. But I did make little works of art for her, little handmade pieces of jewelry, and I gave them to her, and she accepted them very joyfully. But then somebody snitched or somebody figured it out. And of course, it's a big, big no-no, I discovered, that patients are not supposed to flirt with their doctors and nurses, let alone have any attempt at a romance. But anyway, I found that out the hard way because one day I came to the clinic for a treatment, and a bunch of doctors and an administrator came in, handed me some pieces of paper, sign here. You can never come back. You have to sign off that you agree with our statement that you have been harassing a young student here, and you need to find treatment somewhere else. Thank you very much. Goodbye. I signed it and I walked out. Anyway. Very, very embarrassing. There are plenty of stories out there, Fluffles, where you have a young lad, younger, or sometimes much younger than the woman, and for some reason it just works out. Sometimes it's all about the fling, and it's all about, some guys are like sport hunting, you know, it's like fly fishing. You know, they put out bait, hoping to score. I don't know. I'm just, oh God, I sound awful. It's very normal for guys to go hunting for women. They do it in all sorts of different ways. They set up bait. They try to seduce. They try to charm through words, actions, deeds, whatever it might be. He might just be a really nice guy who really is attracted to you, and he doesn't give two poops about the age. Maybe it doesn't even occur to him. He may just think you're like, oh my God, now this is a woman. And if he's wealthy and successful and he's got nice stuff, he probably has a fairly, let's say, well-defined value system. Oh my God, he sounds like an absolute sweetheart. Oh my God. Oh God. All right, let's have a look, see what's going on. We're not going to prejudge this reading, okay? We're just going to dive in. So what kind of messages do we have here for Fluffles today regarding her suitor? Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at some external influences. Page of Swords. We have to find out what's going on here. The Page of Swords demands truth. It's a very innocent, pure energy, and sometimes Page of Swords energy does not take any account of consequences of discovering or exposing the truth. But we need to get to the truth of the situation here, whatever that might be. Okay? And how can you be a whistleblower on yourself? Well, okay, let's just leave that for now. I've said what I have to say. Let's have a look at the situation. Wow, look at that. This is teamwork. It might be that we're getting like a precise, let's get some precision here about the definition about what's happening. Actions speak louder than words. You've typed in the screen there a whole bunch of actions that can be very, let's say, telling about a person's character, their behavior, their nature. And it sounds to me that he's got a little bit more of interest in you besides scoring or just fishing to have another, whatever they call it, another trophy. I'm not sure if he's a trophy hunter. Anyway, with the Three of Pentacles here, it looks much more like a team effort. It makes me feel as though he sees you as a valuable asset to his life. And he's hoping that you see him as a valuable asset to his life. So it's like a team. It's almost like it might be worth looking at the situation as a mutually beneficial situation where you could benefit from having that type of male around you, and he could benefit by having your type of woman around him. Now, how do we discern whether that is the truth? How are we going to find out? Let's have a look. What's the challenge here? So, it makes me feel like there's a lot to lose if there's a failure. Let's just say, dear Fluffles, let's just say you allow yourself to be wooed. You allow your suitor to become closer and closer, and you allow them to show their hand, to show their truth. So it is to the point where it's unambiguous, okay? So you get almost to a moment of truth-telling. And the reason I'm suggesting that is that you might as well tap into your most awesome feminine powers and let this fellow show his true colors. If it is about fishing, we need to find out. If he's a trophy hunter, we need to find out. If he's literally someone who actually sees you as a viable partner, like an actual partner, like a team, like, hey, I could be really good for you. I just need to find out, are you good for me? And he's the one who's doing the initiating. Classic male energy. So there's certain ingredients here that look very encouraging to me. My feeling is where the doubt comes here is that there's, for you, on the reality check, it makes me feel as though there's a lot to lose if it doesn't work out. In other words, even after you do your best, attempts to find out the absolute truth of the situation, how to do that, I'm not quite sure at the moment, but it's like allowing this fellow to gently show their true colors. And that means they have to get very close to you, which means you are allowing yourself to get very close to them in order to find out the truth. Because let's just say that to some degree you are attracted. There's a mutual attraction. But you're not used to things working out this way. Maybe you're not used to having a guy who's just simple and straightforward and genuine. It's just like, I'm attracted to you. I like to get you flowers. Can I pick up some aspirin on the way? All that kind of stuff. Yeah, maybe he could become a stalker. Maybe he thinks you're really rich, and he's maybe all his apparent wealth is on credit cards, and maybe he's a gold digger. Maybe he's a gigolo in disguise. Maybe he's a gigolo trying to look like he's a really good guy. And then you find out that once he's inside your pants, and he's ultimately he's after your money. That could be a very scary scenario. Let's find out. How are we going to deal with this going forward? Okay, Knight of Pentacles going forward. My feeling is it's almost like you have to just continue to be your most awesome feminine self possible. Okay? And allow this gentleman to continue to be a suitor, to continue to make their best efforts. In other words, allow them to show themselves as if in other words, if they can show themselves to be a Knight of Pentacles, I would see this as genuine, honest intentions here, where a fellow would be speaking through actions, where actions speak louder than words. If he's really not that concerned about age, maybe he has a unique, quirky view about love and relationships that you might not have considered before. And maybe he's worth considering because for whatever reason, he might have certain characteristics where if you allow the Knight of Pentacles to come forward, if he truly does have the characteristics of the Knight of Pentacles, someone who is straightforward, well-meaning, honest, pretty good high levels of integrity, well-intentions, and he can show it and he can prove it materially. In other words, if he says, I'm going to pick you up at 7, he's there at 7. Oh, let me take you out to a really nice dinner, and he pays for everything. Money, okay? Let's say that he can, let's say you have a meaningful conversation over dinner, and you start to bring up the Page of Swords energy, and you start asking probing questions like, hey, listen, guy, to be honest with you, I'm not used to being approached by younger men, 22 years younger, to being approached in such a, with such good intentions. So if you don't mind, pardon me, if you allow me to have a few doubts, if you don't mind, do you mind if I ask a few probing questions? Because I need to get to the truth for myself. I am a woman. I'm used to taking care of myself. I'm used to having guys come after me. I'm not married right now. I don't have any kids right now. I think you said that in the chat. On the other hand, we're sitting here having a conversation. What are your intentions? Well, how do you see us? Let's say we get together and we become a couple. How do you see us? If he already sees like a team, like you're good for him, he's good for you, he enhances who you are and what you have. You enhance who he is and what he has. And you let him show it. Let him prove it. Actions speak louder than words. So with something like this, because there's a lot at stake, you don't want to just give yourself freely away just because he's giving you flowers and treats or whatever. It's worth close examination to the point of being really simple and blunt. I'm sorry, guy, you seem like a really nice guy, but I need to understand your intentions here. Make them very simple and clear in words. How do you see us? Where do you see this going? Let them put it in their words, like, I don't know, maybe we should get married. Have you ever considered having kids? Or are you really worried that I'm younger than you? Whatever it is, okay? So, to me, this looks kind of optimistic. I have to tell you, I'm not against the idea. I've known people who have very extreme disparities in age. Didn't seem to make the slightest bit of difference because it suited them. Obviously, it's very important if you're specifically aiming to get married and have a home and family and babies and stuff like that. Certain age things happen. Also, obviously, for a woman, it's very different from a man because, biological issues, babies, pregnancies, and things like that. But depends on the nature and the expectations of relationship. Allow them to come forward and show their true colors. Actions speak louder than words. It makes me feel like there's a lot at stake here, and you don't want to let yourself down for something frivolous. You're not going to waste your time on something frivolous, okay? So allow it to take its course. Allow the suitor to be the suitor. Allow him to woo you and continue to present himself to you, and then make your own decisions from there. But if he shows signs of good, wholesome intentions, then it might be something to consider. That's my interpretation of the reading. Okay, Fluffles, I hope that helps you. Okay, hold on. Let me just read. There's more notes here. Money, he comes from money. Okay, that's nice. Nothing wrong with that. He works so much and he's always on time. He does pay for everything, opens my doors, opens stuff for me. He literally wants to cater to me, but wasn't sure if he's doing all of that to be with me. I've asked. He's blunt and he wants a relationship. Okay, all I'm seeing with the reading here is like, how do you see the relationship going forward? The Knight of Pentacles is in motion going forward with good intentions, okay? So, as a woman, I don't see any problem with you going, if he's blunt, why don't you become blunt as well? Page of Swords, just come out with it. I need to know your intentions, buddy. You seem like a really nice guy. I really appreciate that you appreciate me. It's just that I'd like to have a kind of a more clarity, more of a picture of where you see this going, and then maybe I can respond about how I could see this going once I understand your intentions. Okay, so let's sit down. Let's get out. Let's go out there. Let's talk. And it could be very interesting, because it's one thing to go fishing and to try to get the relationship, but what is that relationship? How does he envisage that relationship down the road? Are you going to live at his place? Is he going to live at your place? You're going to get your own place? Are you going to keep separate places? Does he want babies? Does he want marriage? Really basic, important stuff that really needs to be put on the table, okay? Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm just going to clear this up and we can start to unwind a little bit. Thank you, everybody, for being here, hanging out, sharing your vibes and stories and support with everybody else. Tina, I hope, I guess the best thing, Tina, is just do whatever you got to do to keep yourself cozy and recover. I don't know. Like if I was there, I'd probably just, make chicken soup for you and hang around, and it's nice to have someone to talk to when you're feeling sick. I'll clean this all up. I'll shuffle this all up a bit later, okay? There we go. Let's have a look. I just want to check something here. Yeah. So, to me, it's been a very strange night because I've been feeling very, I don't know, what's the word? Ethereal. The Pisces theme is very strong right now. The Uranus, Taurus, Moon, Taurus, Jupiter, Taurus thing is very strong right now. I think it's affecting me in a nice way. Okay. Well, I've really enjoyed doing these readings. I just hope that they help. I wish I could do more right now, Tina, but let's wrap it up. And if you don't mind, I'd like to get in touch with you during the week. And we'll go from there. I did a lot of chitter-chatter at the beginning of the video. I don't want to repeat anything with the astrology and stuff, so if anyone's interested, you can go right back to the beginning and get all that astrobabble stuff. Okay? In the meantime, I think I'm going to start logging out, and we'll meet up again soon. What I'm going to do is check out with some TarotLumination music. I'm actually going to use my 2A song. I'm so proud of this. My little 2A song. I know it's not a super fancy production, but still. Anyway, Use your imagination.
Okay,
Fill it
I'm
out.
calling this my 2A song
This is the Second Amendment.
from TarotLumination.
2A stands for Second Amendment.
Hope you get something out of it. When will I stop being censored? All I'm doing is speaking the truth. Instead I am labeled as a domestic terrorist, extremist with a short fuse. The fake news just lies and suppresses. The Marxists are writing the scripts. The unaware masses get led to their slaughter while patriots try to resist. Oh, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. Yes, we still have our sweet Constitution, but it's severely being abused. Our only solution is a new revolution to take back what belongs to you and me. I'm sick of the perverts and pedos trying to normalize child sacrifice. They revel in evil and their satanic rituals packaged in their delicious lies. No, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. It all began way back on 4th of July in 1776. The founders and fighters gave their lives for our freedom. I don't want to live through that again. You see, I'm recalling a past life from that exact time. I shed blood to shake off the chains of the tyrants and despots who owned us like cattle. But if I have to, I'll fight them again. Oh, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. No, you can't take us down and you can't shut us up. We got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, we've still got the second. We won't go down without